Here, I'll do it. Easy. Yeah, that's good. Hello, everyone. I think I'm live on YouTube here and let our followers on Facebook here. So we're just going to give everything a few seconds just to make sure. I'm just going to do a sound check on both. Okay. Just when we're waiting, I'd like to say a big thank you to our followers on YouTube. We crept over the 500 subscribers. I think we're up to 510 or 12 at the moment. So that's absolutely fantastic. And as I say, that very much benefits our fight against the attempts by the authorities and whoever in the background who are trying to subdue the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. So we thank you sincerely for those those who have subscribed, and please continue to like, comment and share on the Facebook page, and please continue to share Aaron's story. We have been off air because we've been very busy this last week or 10 days. Just said we do a quick live stream this evening to give a brief update of where we see things are at the moment and our plan moving forward, because we've tried to do different segments and keep continuity with our videos and with our podcasts and with our lives. And obviously the verdict on Monday the 11th of September is sort of broke into where we were. So in relation to the verdicts in respect of Brendan Traynor and James Flynn on September the 11th, on Monday last, obviously it vindicates completely that the circumstantial evidence used against Aaron in Aaron's trial was totally insufficient. It didn't carry no weight. It held no water whatsoever, as we have said from the very start of Aaron's campaign. I think the judges, although may not have said it out loud, so to speak, in the SEC, there is no way, and it wasn't possible, that James Flynn was in or near the Lordship Credit Union at the time Detective Garda Agent Donoghue lost his life. Obviously, Garda James Carlin had seen James Flynn's car in the Square and Crosswood Lane at the time of the crime. And we had a situation where, we have mentioned this before, that Brendan Traynor was at home in his own house at the time of the Morton robbery. And that was corroborated by witness, and indeed phone evidence showed that. Now, during the course of Aaron's trial, I think indeed for weeks, if not months, James Flynn and Brendan Traynor was mentioned more than Aaron Brady was. And indeed, I do believe there's no CCTV footage of Aaron Brady anywhere in respect of the storyboard put together by the DPP and Garda Síochána. So that vindicates entirely and completely that what we have said during the course of Aaron's campaign, what we have said is correct, and it is obviously right. So that's the first step. Next, we want to look at, so we know now the circumstantial evidence is flawed. It's not worth the paper it's written on. It's as simple as that. And the reason then we have to look at it is, why is Aaron Brady serving 40 years for a capital murder he did not commit or had nothing to do with? Well, the answer to that is obviously the skullduggery of Garda Síochána involving witnesses in New York. And obviously we're talking here predominantly about Daniel Cahill, who gave testimony against Aaron and said that Aaron had told him on a number of occasions that he had shot the cop, or he had shot the guard, or words to that effect. Now, we were, as I said before, we were in a stream of following on in relation to Daniel Cahill. We've shown numerous videos and evidence that proved that the information Daniel Cahill gave was a tissue of lies. And we had moved on, and we were looking at the connection between three men in particular, Daniel Cahill and Anthony Maguire, both of whom have serious criminal convictions involving drugs and what have you. Indeed, Anthony Maguire, ammunition, large quantities of cocaine. And the third person is Christopher Morton, and who we said we have strong reason to believe that Mr. Morton was the catalyst and the person who seen an opportunity uh, through our intrepid detective, Mr. Pat Murray, as Pat Murray posted articles in the Irish Central and gave a radio interview in New York. So the Irish Central newspaper in New York, online, and it's also a paper version as well. And Pat Murray gave an interview, a podcast in New York, where he told people that if they came forward and give evidence, that they would receive $100,000 in cash and or green cards. Now, Pat Murray was reprimanded by the American authorities for this offer. But like a lot of things in this case, this trial, this investigation, that was completely brushed over. We've moved on from that. As the policeman might say, nothing to see there, although the opposite may be true. So we were in the process of looking at the connection of why we say Christopher Morton was instrumental in bringing those other two men forward to come forward and take a chance at saying Aaron Brady had told them at different times in very, very dubious circumstances that Aaron Brady had said that he had shot the cop, shot the guard, or was involved in this crime in some way. And the reason why I'm focusing here on Christopher Morton for this is the story Christopher Morton has told on Garda Síochána was that he was in the Tombstone Bar on a particular night after a wedding. And this is where he had the interaction with Aaron Brady in the bar or at the bar. And Christopher Morton doesn't know he was drinking for 2 days, he says, and he wasn't sure it was 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It depends on what part of a statement you go by. Indeed, he has the date and day wrong, and indeed, he has the year wrong. And Christopher, we now know from your statements, and we do know the date of the wedding because obviously we're friendly with the family whose wedding it was in America at the time. We do know that Christopher, you were married at the time to one girl, but you told detectives Ogle and Mary that you had your girlfriend at the wedding, unless there was some formal menage a trois between yourself and these two ladies. So, and I suppose the most important part in relation to Christopher Morton is Aaron's sister was in the Tombstone Bar that night. And Lorraine knows that Aaron was at home. Aaron did not join the wedding party or meet any of the visitors from Ireland to the wedding in New York until the Sunday morning in Moriarty's. So Christopher Morton, you told a tissue of lies to Pat Murray and Bobby Ogle and Homeland Security agent Mr. Matt Katsky. And we know that. We know that for a fact, and we know from the information we have that you cajoled your cousin to give a statement in which you withdrew. He wasn't happy with it. And we'll go into much more details on that and how we know from what you've said. And indeed, Pat Murray gives us some very interesting information in the making of a detective. And indeed, Pat Murray told us in that podcast that he had checked out your bona fides, Christopher. And we have mentioned it before. Your bona fides would not be very good, and they would not be comparable with having an ESTA visa and getting a green card in America, needless to say. So that is where we were, and we will develop that story as we move along and break it down. And we're working to continue to create and generate information and freedom of information from the authorities in New York. So that will be of importance, obviously, moving forward. And then finally, I just wanted to have a quick look at obviously James Flynn's conviction for the theft of the Passat in Clogherhead. Now, James Flynn was found guilty of the theft of this Passat in Clogherhead. Now, this is simply, it is nothing more than the Special Criminal Court throwing a few crumbs to the DPP and on Garda Síochána, and in some way to try and continue the storyline that Aaron Brady had something to do with the Morton robbery at Lordship Credit Union, which trying to link to this Passat, which was stolen. But we do know, and we will show clearly that that is impossible. Now, the Special Criminal Court absolutely rubbished evidence given by an engineer and made up a number of, which would be on a standard practice on a straight road with no bends, something like a runway, times, and came to conclusions that suited the prosecution. But we will tear that to shreds, tear it to ribbons, and we will show categorically that James Flynn had nothing to do with the theft of the car in the Passat in Clogherhead. I'm just having a quick sorry, I just seen, thank you very much for your comments. I'm just checking that there's no questions on the YouTube here. So that's where we are. That gives you a sort of a brief update. So we're very happy with the verdict. I suppose it's fair to say we're unhappy with the way some of the narrative as the verdict was presented and given in the court. Obviously, I wasn't there myself. I wasn't allowed in. We had an Irish citizen who was, I was barred from an Irish court. But the reasons for that, really unclear. Obviously, freedom of speech is something that we're all fighting for. A lot of people are fighting for at the minute, and very much to the fore all over the world at the moment, I do believe. So our freedom of speech was punished by not allowing the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign in to hear the verdict on the 11th of September. So I think that's where we are with the campaign at the moment. We're doing a massive amount of work behind the scenes because the Special Criminal Court has left it wide open for us to show very clearly, the same as the other circumstantial evidence, that the other two young men were acquitted of, that the circumstantial evidence even for the theft of the Passat in Clogherhead is even worse. It's even more pathetic. It's more tampered with. And I think it's fair to say we do have other little nuggets of information that we found that will prove, obviously, that James Flynn and James Flynn's car is not the vehicle that was anywhere near the house in Clogherhead from which the Passat was stolen. So that's where we are. Thank you all so much. Once again, thank you to all the 500 plus subscribers. Please continue to like, comment and share. We've seen already when we put out the notification of this live stream, and we were aware that those notifications were being attacked and suppressed. But we do need your help to like, comment and share, and use the algorithms to fight against that suppression. So thank you once again for joining us. We'll see you again very shortly. We're going to have a series of videos. We'll be interlinking the videos with the trio of Cahill, Morton, Maguire, and also with the theft of the Passat in Clogherhead. We'll be doing extensive work in respect of that. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak to you and see you again very soon at the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. Thank you. I think if you just pop that off, Caroline. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you again soon at the next video. Yeah. Is it off?